So let's use the tool settings service, because it's a simple service, as an illustration of some of those principles. So tool settings is a service that was introduced with the LTI 2.0 specification. So it's related to custom parameters. Custom parameters actually were either you had to enter them manually in the system, or you had to use a content item selection request flow, which is a new flow actually. So in most cases, the older interaction still prevails, where you launch, and actually the only thing that differentiates this link from another is just that this has a different link ID. So now here you launch new link ID, the tool provider is going to ask you, okay, it's this new link, what do you want to bind it to? And it says you're going to bind it to an assignment. Let's have some identifier for the assignment. But now reverse and associating this link ID to this assignment, and with the issues we've seen before, is that this information remains purely into the tool provider space, and therefore on the tool consumer, when the course is copied or archived, this information is lost and you need to rebind on first launch. Now here you're going to get injected a link setting container URL. So now what does it do? So in this link setting container is basically the container of all the custom parameters for this link. You could see it that way. So now here I've launched and I'm doing the binding, and when I've done the binding, then this is going to call onto this container and post a new and put a new value for it. This value is going to be a new parameter basically, and so it's gonna, for example, gonna say it's assignment ID, and you're gonna say 127. And now, whenever this link is launched, it's going to contain this custom parameter. It's going to contain custom underscore AGN underscore ID 127. You're able to execute the link. But the good thing about it now is that when this link is duplicated here, this information will be duplicated too, because now it resides on the tool consumer side. And the same thing when the command cartridge is exported, and this information is in there. So that's the link setting. So you have settings at the link level. But you can also have settings at the tool level itself, as a system for your tool. So basically, anytime your tool launch any link, you can specify parameters. And to do that, then you have another container, which are the tool system level container. And you would get that URL too if you ask for it. And actually, there is an in-between value, which is a tool, that tool, for the current context, for the current course. And there also you can put some parameters that any links executed within that context will also contain that parameter. So, and for that then you will have a third container, which is a tool context container URL. So let's look at the specification. So you see here 3 containers, 3 URLs that you don't have prior knowledge of, but are injected in your link. And actually they're injected in your link through substitution parameters. So we can have a look at the specification. We go to the tool settings container service, and you see here that you can get the settings or put a new value for the settings. And so here we find the 3 levels of custom parameters to get the URL. So you have the link level settings, the course level, and the system level one. So those ones are injected on every launch, and you get to pick where you want to do your changes. And now here we also have media types, and you see we have a complex, not really complex, but we have a regular one and a simple one. So what's the difference? The regular one is a representation where you find all the parameters for the link, but grouped by the level. So you say for this link you're gonna have a link level parameters, which are those ones. Then you're gonna also find parameters at the course level and system level, but you see they separated each one in their containers, indicate the scope. This is course, this is system, and this is link. But sometimes you just want to get all the parameters that apply to a link, and you don't really care where those are coming from. So in this case, you're going to say that you require the simple representation. And in this case, in the simple representation, you get just a list of key value pairs of all the custom parameters, and those you cannot know if they're coming from a tools level setup or just at the link, but you can guess here that chapter is probably a link level setting and a nice band is probably a course level setting. And back on the more complex one, you see the more complex one is also using JSON LD context and is using a JSON LD construct here, and you could dereference that to get more information on those attributes.